Greetings, dear friends. You are watching the First City TV channel. This is the Project Friday Evening. My name is Alexander Sopelnik. Today, as always, within the framework of our project, we are talking about creativity. Today in this studio, we will talk about Andrei Kalinkin's book titled Single, Married, Divorced. We will spend the next 15 minutes of our broadcast with the author of the book. Mr. Andrei, I'm glad to welcome you.
Thank you.
I would like to start with this question. What inspired you to write this book and specifically to explore this topic?
Well, what inspired me? I wrote this book over the course of 7 years. To be more precise, this particular concept first dawned upon me back in 2017. And the core idea behind it is actually remarkably straightforward and uncomplicated. It originated directly from my own personal romantic adventures and various intimate relationships. These experiences consistently brought a wealth of profound new life lessons, fundamentally changed my overall perspectives, and ultimately gave me many valuable new insights into the world. At first it all just accumulated as personal, experience, but I wanted to capture certain emotions, let's say certain feelings on paper, and at first it was like a personal diary, that is, where I expressed my thoughts purely for myself, so as not to forget certain moments and aspects, and then realizing and seeing that the topic of relationships, marriage, and the dynamics between men and women is actually quite popular, especially on the internet. Today there are a lot of psychologists and experts who, in one way or another, position themselves as such in this field. And the opinions of such people, well, some of them, I'm not talking about everyone, but certain opinions, for example, did not coincide with mine, and in my view they created false stereotypes that in fact to some extent are already starting to hinder people from building healthy relationships. And I wanted to share this described personal experience, not just keep it, as they say, in the drawer, but let a wider audience read it. And that's how the idea to write this book was born.
So you could say that this is something of an autobiographical book?
Well, to some extent, yes. Well, let's explain it in this particular way. I essentially tried to carefully construct a detailed composite representation of every single character, based entirely on my own personal social interactions and experiences with various friends and acquaintances that I have known over the years. But one way or another, even the beliefs of other people, they still... Well, I look at them through the lens of my worldview, so it will still remain subjective. And so then, well, if it were 80%, probably it would still be an autobiographical book. Ugh.
And how did you choose the three main characters to explore these questions, the questions of relationships? Why specifically a single man, a married man, and a divorced man?
Well, these are like three different, let's say, male states. When you're a free bird, so to speak, and searching for your other half. When you're already in a serious relationship or actually married. And when you're in a state of disappointment with relationships, and for a while you don't want to, let's say, communicate with the opposite sex at all. And these are different perspectives on life because you're in different emotional states, in different states of how you view women, so to speak. And basically that's how I chose to describe all these three male states.
So if I understand correctly, there are three characters, right? Single, married, divorced, but it's all the same person.
That's right.
In the book, it's all one person.
Let's put it this way, when the reader finishes the book, they'll understand the essence.
Wonderful.
We want to keep a bit of intrigue.
That's wonderful. And what key ideas or conclusions did you want to convey to the reader through your book?
Well, first of all, I now position this book as one that shatters long-standing societal stereotypes above all else. Because women also have many deeply ingrained misconceptions and misunderstandings, let's say, regarding certain specific aspects of male behavior. Men are not always, let's say, completely ready to communicate openly and vulnerably about their inner emotions and feelings. And well, actually now there is such an opportunity. At least one man, let's say, has already spoken about these things, and perhaps they will be interesting both to a female audience and to a male audience who might agree with some things and not with others.
And what was the print run of the book and where can it be purchased?
Right now I have received 100 printed copies. The book can also always be purchased in electronic format, and it is also available in English. At the moment you can buy it directly from me. You can find me on social media, Andrei Kalinkin, Facebook, Instagram. There are many posts dedicated to this book there, so you can order it from me personally that way.
Well then, shall we get back to the topic of our program? And do you think that social factors, such as money and status, have a significant impact on relationships between men and women? And if you do think so, how exactly do they influence it?
Well, actually, I do think they have an impact. And in fact, this was also one of the key factors that influenced my personal decision to research, write, and publish this book. And for the general reader, and how exactly do they influence? I think that's something you need to read the book yourself.
Which reader reactions impressed you the most? Have there already been any reviews from those who have started reading or have already finished?
Yes, as a matter of fact, as of today's date, I have already personally received and read 2 incredibly kind and very pleasant reviews from women who, let's just say for now, truly believe that this particular book really could eventually become, well, maybe not necessarily a global bestseller right away, but nevertheless, they sincerely wish and hope for as many women as possible all around the world to read this book. Because indeed, for some people, those same stereotypical beliefs about men begin to change. They start to see things from a different perspective, realizing that yes, men don't always express all of their emotions. And so, after reading this, there is already some understanding of how a man views relationships.
Well, it's really impressive that such feedback from women came in first.
Well, overall, yes. Actually, to be honest, I was aiming this book more at a female audience, although now, judging by the feedback I'm getting, many people are saying that, well, it wouldn't hurt for men to read this book as well, although it was intended more for women.
Mr. Andre, let's do this. Let's promote your book a little, shall we? I'd like to start with a slightly provocative question that I make a point of asking all the talented writers and poets we meet here in this studio, okay? So, why should I, as a reader, buy your book?
To break certain stereotypes again. In any case, I can say this. You know, there are books that evoke only emotions. That is, they are written as adventures, as some kind of fictional stories. Here, I am 100% sure, though it may sound like I'm praising myself, but the reader will truly get a lot of new, fresh information. In terms of terminology, I am sure there are words here, some of which I explain, that very few people have heard of. Or maybe they have, but I am certain not many people. There are also references to other literary works, which may also interest readers after this book, so that they can read both it and that literature as well. So in any case, the book will leave some kind of mark in your memory, both emotional and by adding new knowledge. And perhaps even if those emotions are feelings of indignation, that's good too.
That's emotion, yes. Was there a presentation? Has the book already been presented somewhere? And if not yet, do you plan to do so?
Well, there hasn't been a presentation as such. It's fiction, and I would even say it's philosophical literature, a philosophical novel essay. It is mostly autobiographical, and again, there were no presentations like the ones usually held by more well-known writers, because firstly, this is my first book, and as an author, I am still unknown, let's say, to the wider reading public. Secondly, I don't think it's really a library book, because it's more for an adult audience and more for those who are specifically interested in this topic.
Mr. Andre, you said this is your first book. Are you planning to stop here or not? And what are your future plans related specifically to this creative work?
I don't plan to stop. To be honest, I'm already working on my second book titled 33. This will also be a philosophical essay, more of a stream of reflections, but there will actually be many references to this book as well. But this book will not be about relationships, it will be more about how the war is affecting each of us now. That is, how much our priorities change, how much our life values change. There will also be many autobiographical elements in it. So yes, the second work is also at progress.
And when are you planning to release it?
Well, actually, the book is called 33 because I planned to finish it by my 33rd birthday. But unfortunately, I didn't make it in time. And literally now, tomorrow will be Independence Day, 33 years of independence, and I think it will also be relevant to dedicate this book, among other things, to this date.
Wonderful. Well then, Mr. Andre, we'll put a period on our conversation here. I want to thank you for coming to our studio, and as a creative person, I can only wish you one thing: more creative inspiration, and of course, more grateful readers.
And I want to personally give you one of the copies as a gift.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for having me on the broadcast.
You signed it. That's exactly what I wanted to ask for. I'm very grateful to you. It's a real pleasure. And once again, thank you sincerely.
Likewise.
Friends, let me remind you that you were watching the project Friday evening, and we were talking about Andrei Kalinkin's book Single, Married, Divorced. Our guest was the author of the book, Andrei Kalinkin. See you on First City Channel. Take care of yourselves and all the best.